Hey girl, hey, and guys. So we're back with another episode. And this time I want to do something different. I want to try story time. So I want to tell a story time on how I was love bombed for the first time and only time in my first experience with it. So there was this guy on Facebook, we'll call him Jay. Jay would DM me periodically. I couldn't really get a feel of him. It was something in my gut off about him, but I went against my better judgment. Nevertheless, I decided to give him my number one day. We started talking. Immediately, he works midday shift. See, and I already had something about against the guys that work midday shift because I call that the cheat on your man shift because they're always unavailable. But just wait for it. So I gave him my number. We're talking a couple of days in. First red flag, love and bombing. He was supposed to meet me. Me and my girlfriend had tickets to a comedy show in our area. So I go to the comedy show. He told me he has a podcast he has to do. And he couldn't make it because the podcast was over around like 10 p.m. and he couldn't get a babysitter for his son. Okay, so first red flag was sending me money initially before you even met me. Now in hindsight, you're probably like, well, what's wrong with somebody sending you money? You don't know me to send me any money. He asked me for my Cash App. By the time I saw the message, roughly 5 minutes later, he sent it to my Apple Pay. He sent $100. Now, you said you want to take care of my first round of drinks, but you sent 100 instead of 25. Like I said, again, I should have paid attention to that being the first red flag, right? Nevertheless, I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. I'm grateful. Of course, I accept the money. I'm thinking he's a good guy, right? So the days went on. We still haven't officially met yet. That was on, I remember, Thursday. By Sunday, we're still getting along. We're vibing and everything, right? He tells me that he wants to go to Hawaii. Like the first time I called him, I asked him what he was doing at work. He said, looking up Hawaii trips. And I said, can you afford Hawaii? He said, you're cute. So Sunday, fast forward, he sent me an itinerary telling me he was taking me to Hawaii. I'm so happy. I'm praise dancing. I'm telling my mom. I'm telling my friends. And it's funny because my male friends, the first thing they said was, well, the trip is for him, not for you. Is your name on the itinerary? So I'm instantly defensive. Oh, you guys don't want me to find love. I'm worthy of Twitter love. You know that Twitter stuff, how you see the flowers on the ground. And you see the girl getting swept off their feet and airplane rides and just all good things, right? And I didn't realize till after the fact that when someone does something for you like this initially, they are doing this to disarm you so that if you find a problem in anything moving forward, you would feel bad for confronting them about anything. And I did. I'm like, oh my God, this man's taking me to Hawaii. I can't be mad at this. I can't be mad at that. But let's move forward. So he finally says he can meet me the next following week. I think it's like a Tuesday or Wednesday, right? So he's telling me he can meet me Tuesday or Wednesday, and he works remotely from home in the morning, and then 3 to 12, he worked somewhere. We'll just say he was a supervisor because I don't want to say where he worked, right? So, morning. Hi, how are you?
Good.
So, I'm sorry, I'm at work. So he tells me, he's a supervisor and he still has this weird schedule, but he can meet me for breakfast. So I'm telling him I can meet him. The second red flag was the trip. The third red flag was, I said, okay, I can meet you. I can meet you or whatnot. And he's like, are you gonna meet me or not? And it seemed like he had an attitude, like he was being hasty, and it didn't dawn on me what was the attitude for. I don't know if it was like just doubt or I'm sorry. Love. Morning. No problem. So I don't know if it was just doubt or anything, but I don't understand what the attitude or hesitation was about. But either way, it was still weird that he acted that way. But again, I didn't notice. So okay, we go out. We had a good time. He actually was a little bigger than the pictures he sent me. No body shaming, just be honest. We had a good time. He told me that he had 2 kids and that he lived alone, but his children's mother was going to get the kids for the summer, and that I couldn't come over until they left. Again, another red flag, because if you get off at midnight, aren't your kids sleeping? I could have came over for a little while. It just, like I said, all sketchy. I also didn't notice that every time he called me when he was off, he was going to the store to get food. It was never in the house. Or if he sent me videos of him in the house, it would be random. Like I remember the following Sunday, he was grilling, and he sent me a video of him listening to R&B and grilling, but never FaceTiming me actually in the house. And when he did FaceTime me in the house, when he got off, he'd be in the bathroom or the shower, like going into the shower, not actually physically in the shower, but you know, where the noise is running, all signs that you're in a relationship and you're trying to be sneaky. But again, because I have this trip I think I'm going on, and you know, that $100 and him calling me all day long saying all the right things, it makes you feel like, well, why would I doubt somebody? Or I'm scarred from my past, and the problem may be me or me having trust issues. Okay, so moving forward, we're getting to know each other. We never saw each other again until the end of the month, and he asked me to meet him at a hotel. I reluctantly did. He ended up leaving early because he said that his mother was watching the kids and he had to leave because he had to go lock the door. He only stayed there about not even 3 hours, another red flag. He FaceTimed me immediately in the morning and to show me nobody was there and he was home safe, another red flag, because his girlfriend could have just been out that morning, right? So I started to catch on that something wasn't right at this point. Now we're about a month in. He tells me that now he decided to invest in an apartment, and that he was getting this apartment because he let his children's mother come live with him. Over the weekend, we got into a small disagreement. He blew it totally out of proportion. Looking back on it, I can tell you did it on purpose. He totally blew it out of proportion. When we talked a day later, he told me he let his children's mother come live with him, and he was gonna go get this apartment to let her have the apartment. Again, not making any sense, because in the span of 2 days, you let this woman who you claim you cheated on and it didn't work out with, and that she was verbally and physically abusive, move in, but you made it seem like she wasn't taking care of her kids. Okay, again, I go to this apartment because it's a shred of hope in me that maybe he is telling the truth, right? Before I realize he's a compulsive liar, habitual liar even. I go over there. I'm over there again a couple of hours. He has to leave because he has a side business outside of his job and he needs to check on his business because things aren't going well. Whatever. So I leave. Now, at this point, now my antennas are definitely ringing because I'm like, this guy is full of it, right? So anyway, speeding the story up, we're coming to an end. I just decided to cut ties because I knew in my gut at this point something's not right. Probably about Oh, you know what? He stood me up one more time. We were supposed to go to dinner, and he said he had his son, and when I confronted him about it, he instantly got defensive again. And I said, I just can't do this anymore because I don't trust you. It's just too many red flags, right? So, lastly, I stopped talking to him. This was in July. That September, he reached out to me again. He told me he missed me. I did not respond. I have not heard from him since. But interestingly enough, there's this group on Facebook called Are We Dating the Same Black Men? I get added to the group one night, probably about a month after he contacted me or so. I'm scrolling, right? And something in my gut is telling me, don't stop looking, right? It's probably about 3, 4 in the morning. My eyes are burning. Lo and behold, who did I see? Mr. J. It was a young lady that posted anonymously because that's an option. And she said something just wasn't right in her spirit about this guy. Same as me. I decided I was going to reach out to her in the morning because it was 4 in the morning. So the 11 a.m. I reached out to her and I told her that I had knew him and I shared my experience with her. We had 100% the same experience. She lived about 20 minutes out from the apartment and she had never been to the original home that he obviously shared with his kid's mother that he wasn't truthful about. We talked for a few hours. Around about 8 p.m. that day, another young lady contacted me with the same exact story. The only difference was he told her that he lived with his children's mother, but they just weren't working it out. So he told her some form of the truth. He ended up buying her expensive gifts as well. She got a purse out of him, a Gucci purse. The other young lady didn't get anything but the same love bombing her with the expensive gifts. And they all said that he didn't really have that much time. They came to the apartment, nobody had been to the house, same story. So at this point, I'm like, oh, he has a pattern. So at the end of the day, not only did this man come to find out he lived with a woman, but you had 2 other girlfriends and you tried to contact me to get me involved. So he had not 1, not 2, but 3 girlfriends. So I wasn't able to get in contact with his kid's mom, but through the conversations with the 2 young ladies, the original one, he ended up leaving her alone, and the second one, she ended up leaving him alone. So at the end of the day, it's night, because what you can't do is think that you could do stuff like this to people and get away with it. So in the end, I don't want to say I won, but I am happy that they decided to leave him alone and realize that he was playing them like a fiddle. And I would have let it go and not got involved, but because he wanted to reach back out to me and basically you would have pulled me back in that toxic cycle, I felt that they needed to know. Like, they needed to know. They needed to know. I've never heard from him again. He had unfollowed me on Facebook. I'm probably blocked. But I wanted to tell my story, hoping that someone will be aware of the red flags, that not all good things are good things. Someone sending you money, promising you trips without having your name on an itinerary, actually having your name and your info to book flights, and just things that we don't notice. Talking all day, all long, but never actually producing results. You're in the car, never actually noticing you're in your home, where you can hold conversations with me. I noticed too, he never talked to me around his kids. When he did call the one time, it was his kids' football practice. They were already out of the car. But that's my story, and we will be back again with another story time or another episode. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.